Hi, welcome. I'm Clementine at Books with Clementine, and this is my BookTube Newbie Tag and my introduction to BookTube. A lot of people have done this tag. I think the original creator unlisted their video. It's now a staple, and I always love these videos to know a little bit more what to look for in the channel or what they like, etc. So let's get into it. I have the questions down there on my computer. 1. Why did you start this channel? Long story short, I'm switching careers. I used to do research and I loved that, but I cannot do it anymore and I'm switching to industry. But I still want to do something that brings me joy. I have always in the back of my mind wanted to do and started a channel ever since I started finding BookTube in 2020 when COVID hit. So I thought I could never do it with my schedule, but now let's start it, right? Why not? I love books and I love talking about books. I love recommending books. I love reading books with people. I love book challenges, gamifying my reading. So I'm hoping that starting this channel, I can do more of these things. 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I'm French and I read in both French and English. So I think there's not so many French people who are doing videos in English. The second thing I think is special about me maybe is that, as I said, I used to do research. I have a PhD in physics and I therefore have a very logical approach to books, I would say. I can very much focus on all the little plot points that don't work out. That goes into saying that it will produce very funny ranting videos when I am not happy about something, because I can talk a lot and I can ramble a lot about those things to various people, even to family who doesn't care about books and doesn't read at all the same books that I read or at all. And obviously, as I have a background in physics, I have a very strong opinion about sci-fi books. I don't read a lot of sci-fi because I have a hard time finding those that work for me. I do like to have a lot of science in my book, right? I do like when they explain it to me. But if there is anything wrong with a science that is from our modern world, I will rant about it all the time. So sometimes sci-fi, I prefer one that actually doesn't have any explanations or goes completely bonkers about the science, because that way I don't have to turn my brain on too much about this and be mad about it afterwards. For the same reason, I also don't read a lot of contemporary romance because for some reason, even if it's romance, my brain says contemporary, we're in our world, so everything that seems unbelievable, I cannot trust it. For the same reason, I've tried a few thrillers and usually they never work, right? So I stopped reading thrillers and I ramble too much like I usually do. So let's get on to the next question. What are you most excited for this new channel? The friends I make along the way, because I've made so many friends from BookTube, from all the social media I joined. I made a friend for life on Instagram. We read a book every single month together. We've never even seen each other, but we talk so much. I met some friends on BookTube from the Patreons I joined, so much so that I actually play D&D virtually with one of them now. I want more friends that read the same things as me. And the second thing that I'm looking forward to for this channel is all the ways I can gamify my reading, because I also love to game. Hopefully you are okay with me ranting about things and chatting too much, because that will be a thing in this channel. 4. Why do you love reading? Why people don't love reading is the question I want to ask them usually. When anybody tells me, oh, I hate reading, I look at them and I'm very puzzled, because I've always loved reading. Even before, when I was a baby, I couldn't even walk. I would love looking at books that didn't have any pictures, and I would point my finger like this and blab at myself, right? That's what I would do already. I think what I love the most about reading, though, is how you can escape in a world. But I think I love it because you escape in a world, but you're also getting into the mindset of another character, another person that might be completely different from you, and you learn about them, or you get into their world and their problems and their, hopes and dreams. It's so fascinating to me, and I think it's a fun way for me also to escape and not think about myself for a while, because life can be hard, reality can be hard. We need escapism, we need love, we need hope, and we also need books that make us think about the world. 5. What book or series got you into reading? As I said, I've always loved reading. So what got me into reading was, as soon as I could read, my parents got me the Mr. and Mrs. little books, in French, Monsieur and Madame. I started reading those. I got all the ones I could find, and I read all of them, I think, in a month or two, because there were not as many, right? It was the 90s. Come on. I'm old. And after I finished them, then I had to find another book to read. And I started to go to brocante, to garage sales, you would say in English, and buy some books I would find. So those were like really older 50s, 60s books. So the condition of them was very questionable for some of them. But I remember, for example, so you have the Bibliothèque Rose, Verte, Rouge. These are like different colors. The book had like a spine. So you had the pink ones and the green ones and the red ones. And those were different levels of reading, of reader, of ages, essentially. I think the green ones had like a lot of Nancy Drew books, although somehow in French they translated Nancy to Alice, because reasons? I don't know. Our translation sometimes is very dubious for titles. It's weird. Maybe I can do a video about it and we can, laugh about weird translation choices. But that's what's mostly got me into reading. After that, I read a lot of different things. And next question. 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? How do you do it? How do you do booktube so dependably for years and still do it? Is like, because it takes so long to edit videos. I know you get faster as you do it, but still, I'm amazed. Keep on doing it because I love it. I don't know how long I'll do it, right? I just started. Next question before I get even more awkward. Let's go. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think consistency. It's a logical answer that most people might answer, and I will too, because as I just said, making and editing videos is a hard thing for me. I tried a few times to put myself on camera, and I think I'm getting a little bit better as I filmed some short form content for Instagram. But editing my video, and especially my voice, is grating to me. All the little hand things that I do. My face is expressive. I ramble. I have expressions that I say all the time. When I started editing myself, I realized how many times I said like in a sentence. It's insane. Consistency for sure, because it will take a while for me to do this. And I think I just have to be organized every month, like put some videos down about what I think I might do and try to do it that way. But also, I think to overcome another difficulty might be also to give myself grace when I actually don't manage to stick to the schedule, especially in the beginning, right? If I tell myself 2 videos a week, but I don't manage and I only do 1, I should still tell myself, hey, I still made a video. Next question. 8. When did you start reading? I think that was obvious. I started reading very early on when I started primary school when I was 6. I read close to 100 books every year when I was like in high school. I literally read, I think, half of the library books that were available to me in high school. And those were only classics. I read half of them because like I read the classics that I was interested to read and not the other ones. But when I started university, I lost access to a big library of books. I did get at that time an ebook reader. It did get me into having a lot more access to books in English, that's when I discovered digital reading. So I did read, but a lot less with university. And then my PhD was even worse, and work and all those things. So I did read, but maybe 10, 20 books per year. And COVID hit. And then I discovered BookTube, and I discovered all the books that I'd been sitting on and not realizing they existed. And now I read closer to 150 books every year. 9. Where do you read? Everywhere? Not everywhere, but I do love reading in bed in the morning if I have some time, right? In the weekends, and I want to start my day really nicely. Before I go to bed, for sure, I read a lot on my sofa before I go to bed, because I have on my own, so I can read if I don't want to watch anything on TV instead. But also, I always have a book with me. Usually when I travel, when I go to Paris, I have to take the train. So like I pick my Kindle. It fits really nicely into a small bag, and I read on the train. Public transportation is really great. I love reading at a cafe, you know, outside when the sun is out. Anywhere. If I have some time to sit down, I read. That's me. Last question. What kind of books do you like to read? I love fantasy. I think a lot of my reading is fantasy. I do also really enjoy romantasy. I read a little bit sometimes of historical romance, but I really have to be in the mood for it. So maybe 1 or 2 a year. And I read some mystery, a little bit, and a few nonfiction about very special subjects that are interesting to me, usually science. Otherwise, I don't read horror. I think I do have one horror book on my TBR, but it's solely to try it out. I'm a chicken. I usually don't read horror. Contemporary romance usually doesn't work for me. It usually has to be queer, at least, to be a little bit sometimes interesting, but I don't read a lot of it. So that's mostly what I read. And with this, I leave you, and let's get to reading, and let's see you in the next one.